Brutal fighting has resumed, and most recently in the last 24 hours, the Defense Forces Air Force carried out 18 attacks on the concentration of occupiers' military personnel and equipment, and 4 attacks on the positions of anti-aircraft missile systems. This was stated in a report by the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine posted on its Facebook page. The rocket troopers and artillery units simultaneously hit 2 enemy control points, 5 manpower concentration areas, ammunition depots, and enemy air defense positions. And on the other hand, the Russian troops suffered heavy losses in the Vugledar area, and after one of the failed attacks fled, leaving at least 30 armored personnel carriers almost intact. As noted since February 7, the Russian troops have probably achieved tactical success in 2 main sectors. On the northern outskirts of the town of Bakhmut, Wagner's group troops advanced 2 to 3 km further west, holding the countryside near the M03 highway towards the town. To the south, Russian units are advancing around the western outskirts of the city of Vugledar, where they will resume offensive operations in late January 2023. In particular, over the past day, the enemy carried out 52 airstrikes and 6 missile strikes, 2 of which hit the civilian infrastructure of the city of Kramatorsk, Donetsk region. In addition, the invaders fired 63 rockets from multiple rocket launchers, specifically at the civilian infrastructure of the Donetsk and Kherson regions. The threat of further Russian air and missile attacks across Ukraine remains high. Meanwhile, Ukraine said on Tuesday that the last 24 hours had been the deadliest of the war so far for Russian troops as they continued their intensive winter offensive in the east, bringing tens of thousands of newly mobilized troops to the battlefield. Ukraine claims more than 1,000 Russian soldiers were killed in a day. The fighting has been focused for months around Ukrainian-held Bakhmut in the eastern province of Donetsk, a city with a pre-war population of around 75,000. The Russians have made clear progress toward encircling it from the north and south, but Kyiv says its garrison is holding out firmly. Moscow also launched an offensive further south against Vugledar, a Ukrainian-held stronghold also in the highland province of Donetsk, at a strategic crossroads between the eastern and southern front lines. On Friday, February 10, troops and Air Force assets of the Ukrainian Armed Forces destroyed 5 of 6 Caliber cruise missiles and 5 of 7 Shahed-136 131st attack drones that the enemy fired at cities and critical infrastructure facilities. From Ukraine, this was reported by the Air Force Command of Ukraine. The enemy also launched a massive attack with S-300 anti-aircraft missiles from Belgorod and Tokmak, occupied territories of the Zaporizhia region. Up to 35 anti-aircraft missiles, S-300, were launched in the Kharkiv and Zaporizhia regions, which cannot be destroyed in the air through air defenses. The Air Force of the Ukrainian Armed Forces noted that at around 8:30 am, the Russian Federation launched cruise missiles from the Tu-95 milliseconds strategic bombers and urged them to stay under cover. Russian troops also carried out a series of attacks overnight that knocked out power supplies in parts of Kharkiv. The invaders hit critical infrastructure. There were about 10 explosions, Kharkiv Governor Bysinhubov said on Telegram. In some areas, there are power outages. Emergency services are on site. Russian troops have advanced recently for the first time in half a year, in a fierce battle that both sides have described as one of the war's bloodiest. Meanwhile, air defense forces shot down 3 enemy UAVs during the day. According to preliminary information, 2 of them are of the Orlan 10 type and 1 is of the Orion type. The rocket troopers and artillery units simultaneously hit 2 enemy control points, 5 manpower concentration areas, ammunition depots, and enemy air defense positions. This was reported by the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Over the past 24 hours, the Defense Forces Air Force carried out 18 raids on concentration areas of occupiers' military personnel and equipment and 4 raids on positions of anti-aircraft missile systems, the message read. The enemy continues to focus its main efforts on offensive actions in the Kupian, Lyman, Bakhmut, Avdiivka, and Novopavli directions in the Kremenaya and Vugledar areas. Actively use operational, tactical, and military aviation to attack the positions of our troops. The General Staff of the Armed Forces reported this on Facebook. It was also reported that the Ukrainian military destroyed more than 100 invaders. Warehouses with ammunition and fuel and lubricants and a radar station were damaged. As Rubrika writes, the Ukrainian military liquidated another 910 occupiers in the last few days alone. 10 enemy armored fighting vehicles, 8 artillery systems, and 6 UAVs were also destroyed.